fact that you can go from something like that to something like that to something like that to again something like this is just crazy for what you're getting. Hello and welcome to an honest walkthrough and review of Alt Grand by Westwood. This is a deeply sampled Chappell relic from the 1930s, and in all honesty it's got a lot going for it, starting with the fact that they've recorded it with and without felt. It is a very versatile and just a bread and butter piano. It's got 23 incredible textures on top of the piano, but you've also got 3 productive ready mixes and 5 microphone positions, which is really cool. Live player control, so you can affect the sound of the piano, the strings, the keys, which is essential for a piano plugin nowadays. Over 100 different presets, so you don't even have to mix your own stuff if you don't want to. You've got the presets to mess around with. Works within Kontakt player, so you don't need to pay for any other software, and 26.3 gigabytes to download, which is absolutely crazy, especially with a price tag of £79, and that's the full price. The introductory price is £63, which gigabyte per pound, just listen to it. Okay, let's just jump straight in. So into Kontakt player, this is the piano in question. 2 pages of stuff to get through, but of course the piano itself is the first one you load up. You can see down here we have all our mic positions. You don't just have to swap to the felt, you can introduce it slowly, which is really nice. You've got some pianist sounds right here, slap bang in the middle. Over to behind the scenes, you've got your piano sounds already mentioned, lid up or lid down. It does affect the sound ever so slightly for a piano library. Honestly, that's really cool. This Transpitch, honestly, I'm going to rave a bit more about this than I initially thought, because it really does affect the sound in subtle but effective ways. Now you've got tape, delay, width, reverb, your standard stuff there, other bits and bobs going on in the background, and some extra information. I will add as well, if you click that little edit button, you can see the round robins. You've got 3, which is nice to see, and if you want to mix in additional levels, all you got to do is hold down shift, click on another texture. So maybe you want this one mixed in with the piano, you can turn this level ever so slightly down and have that texture on top of your piano. But we're just going to listen to this completely out of the box. Oh, and there's all your presets. So you've got obviously your felt piano, natural piano, you have different mixes, textures, textual blends, piano and textures, experimental. You can see what I mean with in terms of the price tag, the actual amount of data, and just everything there on paper. It looks awesome, but how does it sound? Starting with our natural piano, just out of the box. So there you have it. I'm liking the velocity sensitivity, I'm liking the flexibility, but that is simply the out of the box mix 1. If we just instantly move over to mix 2, have a quick listen to that. And actually we're just going to completely put the felt on so you can just compare that sound. completely transforms it. But if you don't want a ton of felt, you can go in between. Now I'm going to put that straight back to normal. We're going to go over to mix 3. I think mix 3 is the most intimate for me, but reverb is on. If we completely turn that off, it's only adding a subtlety to it. Barely anything, just enough to take the edge off, which I like. Some people just bake it too much in reverb. The subtlety on that is really nice, and it is just a Studio One. You can stick a hole on it. Which is nice. Now, of course, if you don't want the mix and you want your own flexibility, you have close mic 1 and close mic 2. You have a room, a gallery, and then the soundboard itself. I believe that's what the last one is. So just taking these one at a time so you can hear these, and I will turn the reverb off. If I'm honest, I really like the raw mic positions. The mixes are okay. The third one is definitely my favorite. But personally, I think I'm going to be making my own mixes. So that's close to moving into our room. Which is exactly what you want for a room, and just mix in that close mic as well. Absolutely beautiful sound. Moving on to our gallery. You can really get a sense of that space, but again, just mixing everything in. You can really quickly create a beautiful sound space, and then I would just add a little bit of this soundboard as well, because it gives you this slightly different sound, especially within the stereo field. Now, I think it's the soundboard. Don't hold me to it. I haven't got the manual yet. This is a pre-release version. But then if you mix all that together, and I'll put that on max just to emphasize it. It just adds a beautiful space. Bring it back into where I'd usually have it. And the piano just shines through. I love the flexibility you have with these mic positions. But now I'm going to leave that mix there for a second. We're going to go into the effects page. I love my pedal sound. I love my string sound. So just for the emphasis and to prove a point, maxing those out. Now, they are a lot more subtle than I would like. If I'm honest, I'd almost like almost too extreme, so you can kind of mix it yourself, but nevertheless, they are prevalent. You can close the lid. Which does exactly what you would expect. It muddies the sound ever so slightly. If you want to add some realism, you can add a pianist. So just some background sounds. Now, I know that's a bit extreme, but I just wanted to emphasize what it does. It just adds some movement. The pianist in the background. Which, if you're doing a piano solo piece, that could be really nice to mix in to add some realism. We'll turn that off for now and just bring these ever so slightly back. Now, adding in this transpitch, just to show you what it does. This is what it sounds like off. Now, I just love that subtlety the transpitch adds, because it does affect the sound. Of course, you've got your usual delay, width, reverb, and tape. They don't really need too much introductory, but they're there as well. Again, this is just so feature rich, and we've barely scratched the surface, in all honesty. Now, moving on slightly, I do want to check out another one of these presets, just the belt piano out of the box. Which just shows you don't have to go into the nitty-gritty and do your own mixes if you don't want to. You have these beautiful default pianos, and what I have noticed is it is a little bit CPU and RAM heavy, but they do have RAM savers, which is really nice, and I think this simply just turns stuff off while still maintaining And honestly, I'm not even going over 10% CPU now. While earlier when I was doing my own mix and matching stuff, I was spiking at about 80%. Right, I think it's time we check out some of these textures now, starting with textural temporal. Which now allows me to show off this other feature, this texture knob here, which just changes the textural sound. And what's nice as well, you can actually affect the reverb for the texture different to the piano itself. So if we actually have both going, I can have my piano with absolutely no reverb, but then bake my texture in reverb. So you can hear no reverb there, but my texture has a ton. Or vice versa, we could actually go into this one and actually have more reverb on the texture, on the piano, and none on the texture. So there is so much flexibility. One thing I will add that might not be obvious is the textures aren't affected by the mic positions. And just to prove a point, I've turned off every single mic position, so everything is completely off. But your texture obviously still works. So they are separate to the mic positions. Those are only pertaining to the piano itself. But you do have this lovely texture knob that works to change the tonal quality of your textures. But overall, I think you get the idea. We haven't explored all the textures, but I think you're getting the gist. Obviously, I feel these are more, I don't want to say a side feature because they're so well thought out, and I love both the flexibility and just the amount of sounds that you can create with all these different textures, plus this knob here. It almost feels endless, and the idea that you can mix them in with the piano itself. Obviously, the main feature is the piano, but you've got all these other little bits as well, which does set this piano apart from a lot of its competition, where you don't have those added textures, let alone the 3 round robins with the multiple mic positions, and just that absolute the amount of flexibility behind the scenes, being able to open and close the lid, the transpitch, the piano sounds, the pianist. That being said, a competitor that comes to mind is Fracture Sounds. They too have quite a few different pianos with what they call atmospheric layers. They too have the keys, the strings, the pedal sound, the pianist as well, the multiple round robins. And I think Spotlight piano is kind of their feature-rich piano, although my favorite is definitely the Homestead piano. Very similar price tag. I might have to do a video comparing some of Fracture Sounds' pianos with Westwood, because they are very similar, but there is so much going for it, and honestly, for the price tag, I'm not complaining. It's a very bread and butter piano that's very easy to use, and I feel very easy to apply to multiple genres. And again, we've not even had time to fully explore all these different patches that you have. What more can I say? Like, it's crazy how much they've packed into this. The fact that you can go from something like that to something like that to something like that to again something like this is just crazy for what you're getting. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. What did you think of this Alt Grand? Is it setting a new standard for piano libraries? Is it something you would use? Do you like the sound quality that it produces? Let me know again down in the comments. But thank you so much for watching. Link is in the description. I am not an affiliate of Westwood, although I'm a huge supporter of their work. I gain nothing financially from essentially advertising this, but all in all, yeah, I like it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.